What's up, Los Angeles? How are you today? I want to thank all the fans and all the media for coming out today in what is the baddest close of a year that we've ever had. The fights that are lined up the rest of this year are insane, and just some of them are up here on the podium today. If you look at the end of the year that we have coming up, obviously this Saturday, live from Brazil, we have the Korean Zombie versus Aldo. Then we have Ben Henderson. This mic is giving me problems here. We have Ben Henderson versus Pettis. Then we got Jones versus Gustafsson. We have Cain Velasquez versus Junior Dos Santos. Hendricks versus George St-Pierre. And then to close out a badass, unbelievable year, we have the rematch between Weidman and Anderson Silva. And the co-main event is Ronda Rousey versus H.E.A.T. So we are beyond excited. We are doing this world tour, traveling around, talking to the press, talking to the fans. Who's got the first question? Go ahead, right here. Oh, we'll get you next, brother, after him.
Dana, can you talk about this year in terms of how the business is doing compared to last year with all the problems that you had with injuries and withdrawals and stuff like that? Can you compare the two?
Well, obviously, last year was the worst year ever. I mean, you couldn't even predict that something like that was possible and that could ever happen. But it did, and now we know that something like that is possible and could happen. So as long as everybody, knock on wood, on this podium stays healthy, the end of this year should be awesome, and we've had an incredible year. You know, we just did the fights on Fox this weekend, and we did great numbers. Numbers just came in today. The numbers were awesome. We're right on par with last year, especially with all the money and time and energy that's being devoted to Fox Sports 1 right now.
And then can you talk about super fights for a little bit? A lot of people are still asking you about them.
These are super fights. The end of this year, these are all great fights. These are fights that people want to see. These are fights that people believe. First of all, everybody's been talking about John Jones. He's too big for this division. It's unfair. He's bigger than everybody else. Gustafsson's an inch bigger than he is. So we're going to find out, okay? Johnny Hendricks and George St-Pierre, many people believe that this is like the Anderson Silva-Weidman fight. Many people believe Johnny Hendricks is the guy to beat George St-Pierre. Anderson Silva and Weidman, you know, we saw what happened there. People are still buzzing about that fight. I think that's going to be the biggest fight ever in UFC history. Cain Velasquez, Junior Dos Santos is the best trilogy ever in UFC history because of the way that the first two went down. Cain Velasquez gets knocked out in a minute something in the first fight. He comes back and annihilates, Junior in the second fight. Here comes the third fight. I mean, these are super fights to end this year. That's why we're here, and that's why we're flying all over this planet to get these fights out in front of everybody.
Thanks.
Hey guys, Ron Kruk with Inside MMA. Question for George St-Pierre. George, it seems like your opponents continue to get younger and more athletic and faster. Do you feel that it's been more difficult to defend your title the past few years, or is it the same as it ever was?
Well, the level get better. You know, it's like anything else in sport. 20 years ago, I think we're better than the guys that were there 20 years ago. We're better than the guys that were there 10 years ago. And in the future, the guys that will be better than us if we're not there anymore. So you need to improve and get better. And I'm still young, fast, and athletic. So I think I can do my job.
Thank you. And a quick question for Junior Dos Santos. Junior, over here, as you prepare for the trilogy with Cain Velasquez, what lessons have you learned from that second fight, and what do you feel you need to do differently in the third fight?
Everything I have to do different than the last fight, right? And, Cain Velasquez is a great fighter, a great opponent. It's a pleasure for me to be competing high level with him. And man, I'll be ready. I'll be ready to beat him again.
And final question for Misha Tate. Misha, now that the shooting of The Ultimate Fighter has wrapped, as you look back at the experience, what was the most rewarding part of coaching, and maybe what was the most difficult aspect of the filming process?
I think the most rewarding part is, I really learned a lot about what it's like to be a coach. It's not something I can say that I really had to do on that level before, and I have a whole new respect for coaches out there. You get so emotionally invested in your fighters, and I really learned a lot about that, and it was a very cool experience. And I think my team and I will always have a close relationship. I'll follow their careers for the rest of however long they keep fighting. So it was great. It was challenging in a lot of ways, and obviously Ronda Rousey and I, we're not the best of friends, so dealing with each other every single day was challenging in itself, for both her and I. But we did it. We made the best of it, and I think it's going to be one hell of a season.
Did your relationship get better or worse?
It's the same as it's always been.
This Humberto Guida, Latin Nation, American Latino TV. This question's for Kane. Over here, Kane. Hey, I think there's a lot of Latinos in the audience today, and I think they all love you. What is it about you that you embrace carrying an entire culture on your championship right along with you?
I'm just proud of where I came from, where my parents are from. Living so close to Mexico when I was little. Always visiting. I just feel it's just growing up with it. I mean, that's all I can say. It's a part of me. So.
Thank you all for coming. This is super cool. First question for George. I don't really think you can really deny anymore that Rory McDonald is a rising contender. He talked about an alternative, having an alternative if he becomes a top contender. So what is that? Is that moving up to middleweight? Would he jump in line in front of you if you lost the title? What's going to happen?
I'm sorry, I can't see you. Where you? Oh, okay, sorry. No, yeah, it's even going up or going down, so now I'm focusing on Johnny Hendricks. That's all is in my head, and I don't see further than that. I think I'm gonna have my hands full with Johnny Hendricks, and that's what I'm thinking about right now.
Question for Johnny Hendricks. Does seeing what happened at UFC 162 and seeing a dominant champion lose his title to the underdog, does that motivate you and light a fire under you mentally?
No. It's my own fight. You know what I'm saying? I got to beat George St-Pierre, and I plan on doing it. Just that right there, just having that fight right there just proves that, hey, everybody's, anybody can be beat any given time, and I believe I have what it takes and can beat George St-Pierre.
Thank you.
Carlos,
Hey, how you
how are you,
doing,
buddy? Good.
Hey, can you talk about what went into putting on this whole tour, taking everybody, all the champs, all the challengers, taking them all around the world? Give me your thoughts behind all that.
Yeah, as we really started to lay out the rest of the year and saw the fights that were coming together, and once we got the whole list together, we said, you know what, this is a special time. We've never had, this many huge, great fights to end a year. And as we started sitting around talking about it, it's about getting out there and letting people know that these fights are happening. Because usually the way that we work is we focus on the next fight, the next fight, the next fight. So we wanted to get out ahead of it, do this huge tour, let people all over the world know that all these big fights were happening at the end of the year. And then obviously, as the fights start to come, we'll start focusing on one fight after another. And it was cool. It was a unique opportunity, something we've never done before. Thank you.
Hi, this question's for John Jones. Oh, you're in the back, John. Sorry. Come on, guys, come on. John, do you think Alexander's your toughest test because size-wise he matches with you like no one has yet?
Not necessarily. I don't think your body really has much to do with the game. Obviously it helps, but it's really about your mind, your mentality, the way you train. I've been wrestling since I was 14 years old. I've been wanting to be a winner at life for a very long time, and now I have this opportunity to just go as far as I can take it. And I know that. So, yeah, you know, will he be a tough challenge? Who knows? Who knows? He could, or maybe he won't. I don't know. I'm going to train hard though.
John, would you consider going up to heavyweight if you win this fight?
No. I have a lot of work to do in the light heavyweight division. And look at freaking this guy next to me here. He's freaking, look at, would you guys fight him? I don't know, guys. I don't know.
And Dana, looking at these fights, Dana, which one do you think is going to be the best fight among these four?
Oh, God. You know, all of these fights have the potential to, you know, you never know how good a fight is going to be, and no matter how much Ellenberger, Roy McDonald, I thought that fight was going to be awesome. You know what I mean? Sorry, George. George is getting pissed at me because I keep talking about Rory, but, you know, you never know. You know, the stylistically, the level that all these guys are on, what all these fights mean, they all should be exciting, fun fights. We'll see what happens.
All right, Dana. Question for Johnny Hendricks. Johnny, Dana brought up that fight about Ellenberger and Rory. Ellenberger's a heavy-handed guy like you are, but he wasn't able to close distance, you know, because of the jab, like GSP, his teammate, also has. But you're really good at springing in. Are you just going to get in there, or do you look at that fight in any kind of way?
No. I know he's good at a jab. Bite on the mouthpiece. I'll eat a jab from my left hand any day. You know what I'm saying? I know that all I got to do is touch him. So my left hand is going to do that. And I'll bite down on the mouthpiece all day long for a jab for a left hand, wouldn't you? You know?
I would.
All right.
And some more technical questions. Misha, anything you're looking forward to in fighting Ronda? And technically, do you break it down in any kind of way? You were able to get her back standing. Liz Carmouche was able to get her back. Do you look at that as possibly, even though she's got good defense and can hula hoop escape, do you look at that as possibly a way of, might be an avenue for you to explore?
Well, I mean, everybody has holes in their game, you know. Obviously, I'm gonna break her down as best I can with my coaching staff and put a solid game plan together and, you know, do some of the good things I did in my last fight and then some of the, you know, get rid of the bad things that cost me the fight. So I'm always looking to evolve. I'm always looking to learn and, you know, I'm gonna bring it. That's all I can say, really.
And last one here for John, Mr. Jones. You touched on it a bit. Alexander Gustafsson's taller than you, got a great jab, but used a lot of knee kicks and distance game. Plus, he's been hit a lot with overhand rights. Is that something you're looking at? Are you going to use wrestling, or will you give anything away on?
I could use you for my camp. Malky, you want to get his information? And no, you know, Alexander, he's a great fighter. He really is. I'm excited for the challenge. The thing that excites me most about Alexander is that he's young, and I'm sure he has an ambition to win this fight that I maybe haven't seen in a few opponents. You know, a lot of the guys I've fought are a lot older. A lot of the guys that I'm fighting has had the life and been there and done that already. Alexander doesn't have that, you know, and he wants that. So me knowing that, I got to train my butt off to destroy any thoughts he have of destroying my life. And that's what I'm terrified.
How is that gut coming? Are we starting to make a change?
my gut's coming down a little bit if you guys want to see. You know, I have a little abs coming in. So yeah, it's all coming together pretty nicely. But I'm excited, man. I'm excited for the fight. It's going to be a good one. I got a young lion on my hands.
All right, thank you, sir.
Dana, Saturday night, you were clearly frustrated with the officiating that took place. With the benefit of 72 hours now, any thoughts about what can, if anything, can be done to address that?
No. I mean, I have nothing to do with it. It's the athletic commission. You know, basically, we're regulated by the government. The government comes in and handles judges, referees. But it wasn't just Saturday night. The judging and refereeing has been bad for years. It's yeah, I agree. You know, it just is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it but bitch about it. That's all I can do is continue to talk about how bad it is. I mean, the 30-27s the other night were ridiculous. It was crazy. Another example that I talked about with the media that night afterward was like the Andrade fight against Liz Carmouche. Liz Carmouche did all the damage in that first round, right? And in that choke at the end. and didn't choke her out. She just held that position till the bell rang. Every judge gave Andrade the first round. Yeah, she won that first round off just holding the choke position till the bell rang. It's crazy, considering Liz did all the damage leading up to that position. So it's scary. I mean, it's scary for these fighters. That's why I say, you know, when you talk about fights like Ellenberger and Rory, I mean, it wouldn't be shocking if Ellenberger won the fight. He only threw 5 punches in the first 2 rounds. Who would be horrified? I mean, it's just, you can't leave the future of your, you know, the money you make, your legacy, and all the other things that happen in the hands of these people. You have to go in there and finish fights.
I got a question right here. All you guys are going to be spending a lot of time together, traveling all over the place. Do you have to keep the challengers and champs separated? How does that work when you guys are out there?
Just Ronda and Misha.
And then Ronda, can you talk about that? I mean, you guys have spent a lot of time together.
You know, we've been involved with each other long enough where we kind of have a rhythm of how we deal with each other. And she mostly just doesn't look me in the eye or talk to me a lot of the time, which I like to relate to Mike Tyson's speech about seeing the chink in the armor of when your opponent won't look you in the eye. And that's pretty much how it goes all the time.
Like I said, just those two.
Hang up. What do you got to say about that, Misha?
That's not what happened backstage.
Oh, I got front row seats.
Go ahead.
Dana. Hey, Richard Diaz here with Examiner.com. Hey, 2 great shows here in California. How soon? Obviously, you got a packed show this year, but how soon are you coming back?
We'll be back at the beginning of next year. Yeah, we've got this year laid out. We'll be back next year.
Any idea of who you're planning to market back for a main event?
I don't know yet. Obviously, this season has to finish, you know, and we'll see where we are, and then we'll go from there. You know how fast things can change.
Hold on. One more for Kane, guys. One more. Kane, just wait, and then I'll have one for you, Gustav. How much did that knee injury play into your first loss to Junior, and what did you have to do to mentally come back from such a serious knee injury?
You know, with that, it's just, you know, that's something in the past, you know. You know, it's done, it's done. Just the thing that most motivated me that after that loss was just, man, that, hey, you know, something was missing in my life, you know, and that was a belt. I didn't like that feeling, so I was going to do anything in my power to get it back, and that's how I feel now, the same way. So.
And I do have a question for Alexander, actually. You know, I think people are excited that someone frame-wise, you know, and speed-wise too, is gonna battle John. How are you gonna get through his reach though? Because that's the one thing he does have on you by, like, I don't know how many inches.
I'm gonna, you know, we're working hard at the camp, and you know, everything is gonna go well. You know, I'm doing my homework right here, so I'll be ready. I'll be ready.
Go ahead, buddy.
Ronda, this fight with Misha, do you really view it as a rivalry? You know, considering the 2 paths you guys have gone since your last fight in Strikeforce.
How is it not a rivalry? I have everything that she wants in life.
Oh, no. Did you really? Did you really? Oh, no.
Misha, the question goes back to you. You obviously worked your way back.
Yeah, absolutely. She has a lot of things I want, but that's not what makes it a rivalry for me. It's the level of disrespect that I feel like I've always felt, and that's what makes it personal. You know, I've faced a lot of people, I would say everyone probably but Ronda, that I don't have any beef with, and I have a tremendous amount of respect. But, you know, she just has a way of irritating me, and I think vice versa. So, I mean, I think that's where the rivalry comes in. You know, none of these people have a problem fighting each other. It's really more of a personal thing.
Mike Dunsmore, NBC Sports Radio. John Jones, you're the UFC light heavyweight champ. Your brothers, Arthur and Chandler, are doing their thing in the NFL. What the hell were your parents doing to turn you guys into such incredible athletes?
A lot of steroids. From a very young age, I remember just in my bottles, needles being around the house. And yeah, it all worked out for us, as you can see.
He's joking.
Yeah.
And your brothers...
On record, he is joking.
Your brothers are both bigger than you. Do you think?
Yeah.
Do they think they can still take you in a fight?
Arthur definitely could take me in a fight. He wrestled throughout high school. He was like ranked above me our whole lives. Chandler, definitely not. But go Patriots. Oh man, you guys like to boo me, I'm realizing.
I have a question for both John Jones and Alexander Gustafsson. Back here. Both of you guys are the tallest in the division, so how are you training for each other? Like, who do you bring in to match each other's height?
Stephen Shreve, that's funny. You know, for me, the biggest thing, I don't try to bring in anybody to fight like Alexander Gustafsson. He has a very unique style between his stance and the way he holds his hands and throws his punches and kicks and things. So my biggest thing is just to become the strongest and the most fit I can become, and make sure that I'm aware of his tactics, aware of his defense, aware of where he's obviously spent more time, where he hasn't, and just put it all in a very honest perspective and come up with a formula. And that's it.
It's all about working hard every day, and it's going to go down to who's working the hardest.
And then for Misha and Rhonda, you guys have sort of an Ali, Frazier back here. You sort of have an Ali Frazier rivalry going on, or Ali Foreman. Do you see yourselves, 10, 15, 20 years down the line being able to put that behind you and reminisce on how this rivalry has built the women's division?
I highly doubt it.
Frazier hated Ali till the day he died.
Got a question down here. John and Rhonda specifically, I know even though some of the other champs won at younger ages, but I'm curious, John, there's been some hiccups in your personal life or in life outside of the cage, and Rhonda, so far so good. But spotty. But I'm curious, the difficulties of becoming a champion at such a young age and knowing that you're still growing up while you are holding the crown. So I'm just curious what you have felt the toughest part or the best part about being such a young champion for both you and Rhonda, John.
Man, how do you answer that question? Well, it's different. I feel like I'm growing up in front of an audience. I've been a part of the UFC since I was like 21, and now I'm 26. So a lot of people have seen me since day one, mature and stuff like that. But it's fun. It's a great business to work for. Me being the youngest guy in my division, I feel like I'm obligated to be the hardest working guy and to try to do the most. Not feeling complacent at all, feeling really great, ready to keep this journey going. I feel like it's really the beginning for us young champions, for sure. Is that an applaud?
They took it back.
Oh, okay.
He's really nice, actually. For me, I think I have to accept that not everybody's going to like me, and I live a life of exposure, and people are going to pretty much see how I am all the time. They're not going to see my representative in the face that I put on. I'm not going to be on a first date with everybody all the time, and it's, I just have to, I just had to accept the fact that, it's going to be bad sometimes, and sometimes things aren't going to come out right, and sometimes, that's why I'm kind of apprehensive about accepting the term role model so much, because everything is out there. Any mistake that you make is going to be blown up and scrutinized, and I accept the fact that I'm going to make mistakes, and whatever people think is what they think. But I'm happy that people disagree. Whatever comes up, I would rather be like a topic to discuss instead of just a topic to dismiss and agree upon.
And Dana, just to follow up, obviously we have two fantastic ladies up here. The other night you had two women's fight on the card. It begs the question of opening up another weight division, and there's some really, really scrappy women at a lighter weight. So what's the possibility there?
We're not doing that right now. We're focusing on this 135-pound division. Some of these girls that are fighting it's their first fight in the UFC. So once this thing, once we feel good with this and feel comfortable, then maybe we'll open another division.
Thank you.
Cyborg had an opportunity to fight in the UFC. Her manager thought it was a bad idea. Boo, yeah, boo you.
Hey, Rhonda. I was wondering if you had a chance to catch the preview for Tough 18 down here.
Yeah, I did. Obviously, you did too.
You said you got punked before. What was your reaction to it, watching it for the first time?
Actually, I saw it for the first time with the sound off, so I was just like, what the hell is that going on there? But yeah, I expected it to be as much, and I'm happy I'm going to be out of the country while it's playing, so hopefully it blows over a lot more by the time I get back. I mean, it's just going to show a lot that that was not really my best environment to be in, and I was focusing way more on being, the best coach that I possibly could. And if you ask anybody on my team, they will say that they were completely happy with how I was as a coach, and that's all I really care about. And how I came off personally wasn't really my biggest goal. And so Misha might come off better, and her hair might look a little better, but my athletes love me more, and that's all I care about.
Can you talk to me about your role in the Expendables 3 and how that all came together?
Thanks, I haven't brushed my hair in days. It just looks like this. I really can't say that much, I guess. I don't know. I'm new to the whole movie thing. I don't know what's allowed to be said or not. But I'm leaving soon, and it's very fortunate that there's going to be like Victor Ortiz and Randy Couture and all these other like fighter type people there, and I'm going to be able to have my camp come and do everything. So I'm not even to break training for it at all. And for the movie itself, I can't really say too much except for, I'm going to probably play like a kind of kick-ass kind of chick, so that's what I like the genre I prefer.
And Dana, was there any concern from you? I mean, did they come to you and say, we need your blessing? And any concern from you that she was going to be doing a movie before her camp?
Yeah, the thing that I love about Ronda is she asks, these kind of things. And it's not going to interfere with her training for a fight or any of her obligations, so... Yeah, and when these type of opportunities happen for these guys, I'm happy for them, just as long as it doesn't interfere with what we're doing here. It's like these guys that are retiring now, this relationship we have with Fox, a lot of these guys are becoming analysts, and there's a lot of good things happening for UFC fighters outside of the UFC, and I like it. I want it to happen for them.
And one more for John, if I could. You said you were planning on staying at light heavyweight. Is that a change from before? Because, I mean, even your trainer said just recently that you maybe have one more title defense and then you're up to heavyweight.
I just said that because Kane's next to me. I didn't want to be awkward, so...
So you do still plan on moving up to heavyweight?
Well, eventually. I'm getting older and I'm growing. I'm getting stronger. Yeah, why not? Yeah, for sure.
How do you feel about him moving up to heavyweight? That obviously opens up another super fight, and sorry to bring up super fights again, but it does bring up another one.
Yeah, no. If he gets to the point in his career when he wants to move up to heavyweight, I mean, what he accomplished just in the first year and a half as a light heavyweight was incredibly impressive. And, the fact that he could move up to, I mean, I've been waiting for Anderson Silva to move up to 205, but he never wanted to do it. He tested the waters a couple times, but, I'd like to see it.
Do you think if he beats Alexander, he'll have cleared out the division?
When you talk about cleaning out a division, there's always going to be somebody. Look how long George St-Pierre has been around and dominated that weight division, And then you look at how excited everybody is for him to fight Johnny Hendricks. You know what I mean? So there's always somebody.
Question for Alexander, a guy who's beaten you before, and you've become friends and trained with Phil Davis. He's fighting Lyoto Machida this weekend. What do you think of that fight, and do you think Phil Davis can beat Machida in this fight?
Yeah, he will beat Machida. I think it's going to be a great fight. Phil will beat Machida.
And a question for Dana. It hasn't been as bad as last year, but we've seen a lot of cards affected by injuries in the past few months. Does something need to happen with the UFC and training camps and injuries?
There hasn't been. There's been a lot. Last year, we had main events and co-main events falling off, like every event. We had an event where every guy fell off an event, and then half the replacements fell off. This year isn't even comparable to last year. This is a contact sport. Guys are going to get injured. It's going to happen, but nothing this year compares to last year.
But do the champions and do the top contenders need to think about being more careful in training if they're not getting to the cage at all?
I think so, and I think that last year, after what happened last year, I think more guys have been. I mean, we had crazy stuff like 2 guys were, you had a guy who was main eventing, wrestling next to a guy who was on the same card and he rolled on his knee. That's just things like that. Because traditionally in boxing, when a guy goes into camp, and especially if he's a world champion, that camp is all about that one guy. There aren't 50 different guys training in the same camp. That's what's different about MMA than boxing. And when you have a whole camp focused on just one guy, and that's all anybody cares about, and that's what the whole gym is about, I think it makes it a lot safer.
Dana, down here in front. Where are Anderson Silva and Chris Weidman?
I'm sure Brazil and New York.
Really, just why wouldn't they?
When that fight was over, I came to LA and I sat down with Anderson to try to make the rematch because he's on some crazy. He's down in Brazil right now, and for I guess it's like almost a month, he's down there doing all these things with his sponsors, traveling around the country. Then he's got to go to Japan, and he's got to do a bunch of stuff in Japan. So he's going to get back just in time to get into camp and train for the Weidman fight.
Did you approach them about doing the World Tour too?
No, because I already knew what he had going on. I already knew he had these huge commitments that he had to get out there and do. Any other questions? What? Yeah, we will. I'll get some from the fans here in a minute. Go ahead. Last question from the media right here.
Dan the Wolfman, ProMMANow.com. I'll hit one to Junior. Junior, what Kane was able to do to you against the cage in your last fight, and also his teammate Daniel Cormier was able to do in his last fight, what have you worked on, or what can you do to make sure you're not just dominated against the cage and held against the cage?
Well, I have to train, I have to train, and I'm going to bring some good wrestlers to help me there in Brazil, Ken is very different, his stamina is really good. That's why he can keep moving forward all the time, and his wrestling is awesome too. So, yeah, it's going to be hard, and I think hard work will be the secret for this.
Thank you.
Real quick, if I could.
All right, what's that? Oh, you got another question? Go ahead.
Speaking of sponsors, you met a couple months ago with Reebok. Obviously, we haven't heard anything since, but I was wondering if you could say how that went.
It went great. Yeah, we're still talking.
Do you think there's a possibility of a deal happening before the end of the year?
Yeah. And it might not be with them. It might be with somebody else. So we're talking. We're out there talking to lots of people. All right, we're going to take the mic around, and we're going to pass it to some of the fans. Don't ask me for tickets. I don't have tickets to anything right now. So, yeah, boo. Ask questions.
Hey, Dana, what's up?
What's up, buddy? How are you?
I have a question for you, Dana, but happy birthday, Kane. I know it was your birthday. Hey, Dana, now that a lot of fighters are coming out of Arizona, big fighters, Kelvin, you have Kane, Ben Henderson, you ever think of going to Arizona, the Airways Arena, the jobbing.com arena? You could throw an event there for us, you know what I'm saying?
No, that's a great question. Yeah, we have talked about Arizona before. The one problem with Arizona is it's so close to Las Vegas, you know what I mean? First fight that we ever do in Arizona will probably end up being a fight night with USA Wrestling and a lot of the key guys from Olympic Wrestling, giving them promotion on air and, doing everything that we can promotionally and through all of our networks around the world to help save Olympic Wrestling.
I look at it as I'm ready to help. Wrestling's been part of my life for forever. If it wasn't for wrestling, I would not be here. It's that counts for a lot of guys too. And it's going to keep making the UFC stronger as well too. Having ex-wrestlers to come over and start doing this sport. So I'm happy to help.
Slap some people around. I think that we need to go over there and because they don't really understand how important wrestling is. Overseas, if what people don't understand is if USA wins gold or anything, they change the rules to make where USA can't win. And I think that's really sucky about it. And I think we need to go over there and really Really, I'd like to slap a couple of those guys for taking out wrestling. It's retarded.
Next question.
Hey,
Go
Dana.
ahead.
Just want to say thanks for coming out here to LA.
Thank you, sir.
Also, just want to ask George, if you get past Hendricks, you've pretty much cleared out the top contenders in welterweight, and Rory's moving up, but I know you guys already said you probably aren't going to fight each other. Have you thought about moving down to maybe face Ben Henderson, or waiting to see if he would come up to face you if he gets past Pettis?
Him and Rory will fight each other, but yeah, go ahead and answer.
It depends on the outcome of the fights, you know, like moving down, moving up. I'm not sure, you know, there is option of super fight. There is other contender too. That so many possibilities. It's too fast for me, and I'm really focused on. When I take a fight, I'm only focusing on that person. I made mistake before, and I paid for it, and I would never do that again. So I'm really focusing on Johnny Hendricks right now, 100%, and you know that's my main problem right now.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Hey, Dana, right here.
Hi,
I'd like
buddy.
to wish you a happy belated.
Thank you, sir.
I just had a question, just curious. I was wondering what you hate more. Do you hate Mazzagati's reffing more, or do you hate Philippe Dumont?
Who I hate more? I wouldn't say that I hate either
What
one
do
of
you hate
them.
more? What do you hate more? His reffing or?
Yeah, his reffing. The thing about Mazzagati's reffing is it affects people's lives. That's what bothers me about it. And
I'm lucky. I train every day, and I don't get, you know, I don't gain weight easy. You know, that's the way my physique, my genetic is. You know, my sister, my family is the same. My family doesn't do sport, and they're very fit. You know, so I guess I'm lucky for that part. And but I don't eat well. You would be very disappointed.
Where are you guys eating lunch, George?
McDonald's.
Hi, Kate. Over here. What about Junior saying you hit like a girl?
I don't take things too personally. You know what I mean? You know, then he's gonna be hit like a girl, you know, in the next fight. You know what I mean? I'm gonna hit like a girl again. It's just, you know, yeah, it doesn't. I don't think too much into it. It is what it is. You know, just focus on the next fight and just try to win.
Thank you.
Haven't we already proven that's a compliment?
This question is for Rhonda. Are you going to use your armbar for your next fight?
If I see it, if it happens to be there, then I'll go for it. But I like to see everything that's available and not just focus on one thing, because if you think too much about one thing, you might not see everything else that's there too. So I keep my mind open, and if it's there, I'll try it.
all right, we'll take a couple more here.
I got a question from Johnny Hendricks. George has faced many wrestlers before, but what would be the difference between you and other wrestlers he's faced?
One, I'm stronger than anybody's ever faced. I hit harder than anybody's ever faced. I'm quicker than anybody's ever faced. So I gave you 3.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, last question over here. Where are you at? Hi,
Sure,
sweetie.
Misha, how come you can't look Rhonda in the eyes?
So many troublemakers
I'll look
here
her in the
today.
eyes right now. Where are you, Rhonda? Where are you at? Where are you at? Right there. Thank you.
There's a
Answer
lot of that in this
question.
season of the Ultimate
Did that
Fighter.
answer that question?
I want to thank you all very much for coming out. We appreciate you. I'm going to get these guys up here and square them off for photo ops, and then we'll cruise around the place. Thank you, Los Angeles.
¿No van a dar entrevista? No creo, irá.
Guys need help?
Ahora sí, mejor sí. Sí.
All right, wait a minute. Everybody good? Can everybody further back?
You can do that, that'd be sick. My drive's right there, copy stuff right now.
Yeah.